And we're back from the quick break. Thank you so much for all of you who have stayed with us throughout the day. We really appreciate it. We're on to the next session and very, very important session, caring for the caregiver. I want to introduce Liz Morris, who is our moderator for this session. Liz, take it away.
Hi there. Welcome back from your break. I apologize that there is a phone ringing in the background. It should stop shortly. My name is Liz Morris, and I apologize for the dog. I will be the moderator for the next session, which is focused on caring for the caregiver. This topic is really close to my heart as my son Colson lived with mitochondrial disease until he was 4 years old. And the stories from families and other caregivers living with mito were really critical lifelines to me as I adjusted to the many phases of our journey, to his diagnosis shortly after his birth, to his rapidly changing needs during his life, and now, how to cope since he passed away in 2020. I now work as a parent and a caregiver collaborator with Courageous Parents Network, and we have been able to feature stories from Cure Mito families, as well as many other families caring for children with serious illness. So today you'll get to hear from 3 speakers who are currently caring for children with mitochondrial diseases. Our international panel of amazing caregivers includes Christina Ferenc from Romania, Jennifer Lindenbach from the United States, and Georgelina Alvarez Baral from Argentina. Following the caregiver remarks, we'll also hear from Rachel Kramer, who is a clinical psychologist, on how caregivers can best care for themselves under the really challenging circumstances that mito presents, as well as how providers can support caregivers and families in that journey. And then we'll open it up to Q&A time, so please do continue to use that Q&A feature, and we'll track questions as people go. So with that, I will apologize again for the dog on the phone and turn it over to Christina. Welcome, Christina.
Hi, hello everyone. Thank you, Liz. I'm Christina from Romania, the Eastern Europe, the region of Transylvania, which you might know as Dracula land. I am the mother of 2 children diagnosed with ECHS1 deficiency. Leigh-like syndrome. I would like to share my screen now. Okay, so life with ECHS1 deficiency. My firstborn, Anna, she was apparently healthy. But after 3 days, she started having problems with her breathing, and she was misdiagnosed with hypoxia. We were a healthy young couple with no genetic diseases and no medical history. So we did no genetic tests. Unfortunately, Anna spent most of her very short life in hospitals. And
I'm so sorry to interrupt. We cannot see your screen.
Okay.
Okay.
Is it okay now?
Perfect. We can see. Thank you.
Okay. So sorry for that. So unfortunately, our first daughter, Anna, passed away at age 1 after virus, which caused respiratory failure. And she was only diagnosed 7 years later when we found out that her sister is also carrying the disease. Nora was born in 2015. She was developing normally in the first 3 months. But after that, she just stopped developing and she started having symptoms which resembled her sister's. This time we detected some high lactate levels and some basal ganglia lesions, which led us to her diagnosis of ECHS1 deficiency at age 1, which was confirmed in the Netherlands by a whole exome sequencing test. Nora is currently age 7. She's on a low protein diet. She's fully disabled, but on a stable condition, and she's a very lovely and happy child. Unfortunately, with this disease, we are facing many challenges every day. These are some medical challenges, like it was really hard to get the right diagnosis. We have to find specialists and expertise in a country where there are no metabolic wards or specialists in mitochondrial diseases. We are having trouble accessing care in other European countries, struggling with finding the right symptomatic treatments, which needs lots of traveling with a medically fragile child. We have to find our own team of doctors, and also having trouble finding the right medication and special formulas. Some other challenges that we are facing are the emotional ones. First of all, it was very difficult to accept the diagnosis that this is a genetic disease which our children inherited from us, and we are carriers without symptoms. This was a shock to us. We didn't know that this could occur to anyone. After that, we had to accept that there's no cure for this disease, and currently there are no treatments either. So we have to find the strength to go on every day. Some other challenges include finding understanding and support from family and friends, dealing with physical and emotional burnout, lots of sleepless nights, finding balance in everyday life. We were lucky enough to find a very supportive rare disease community, which helped us a lot. We are trying to find new purposes and opportunities all the time, and we are hoping to find a treatment or a cure someday. Financial and physical challenges that we have to face are handling a physically disabled child, finding the right medical equipment, mobility and disability aids, providing financially and covering medical bills for our children. This includes analysis tests, special formulas that are not covered by the National Health Insurance Program in most rare diseases in Eastern Europe. You have to find help in caregiving, help with special education, homeschooling, therapists. There's a huge challenge with the lack of sleep, as you all experienced, I believe. We are trying to stay informed and keeping up with new findings, studies, getting funds for research, treatments, and medical care. Spreading awareness is one of our constant activities, and we are hoping that we can make the right decisions all the time. In our case, finding the right diagnosis gave us some sort of closure and the strength to go on and fight for Nora. She taught us that there are no two similar cases, and that early diagnosis and the right symptomatic treatments do make a difference in their condition. Nora's smile is sort of contagious, and this gives us so much hope and the ability to believe that we will have the power to change the course of this terrible disease. We are determined to continue and enjoy every moment and every smile, and to spread awareness and hope and inspire for a cure. Thank you so much.
Christina, thank you so much for sharing your family with us and for sharing both Anna and Nora with us. We have had a couple comments in the chat wishing a happy birthday week to Nora. So she's getting love
Thank
from
you.
all around the world. I appreciate how you spoke to the really compounding nature of the different challenges that come with this disease, the logistics of care, the emotional challenges, the impact on the family finances and dynamic. Just really, really powerful. Thank you for sharing that with us. We don't have any questions yet, so I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Jennifer to share more about her family. Welcome, Jennifer.
Hi, how are you guys? That was a wonderful talk, and Christina really went through a lot of things. So let me just start by kind of introducing myself. I'm Jennifer. I am the mother of two beautiful children who have SIRF1 Leigh syndrome, which we've obviously talked about a lot here. Evangeline is 7 and Malachi is 2. Quick story about our diagnosis. Evangeline was diagnosed when she was 18 months. We were caught completely by surprise. We thought it was GERD. It was very much not on our radar. I was pregnant with Malachi while we got that diagnosis. So Malachi was diagnosed actually at 2 weeks old through genetic testing, long before he had any symptoms. What that meant for us was that Evangeline had the sort of the big sister sacrifice in many ways. We made a lot of mistakes with her that we discovered were mistakes that we just didn't know were not what you were supposed to do, that mostly we were able to change with Malachi. Right now, they both have tracheotomies, they both have G-tubes, they both have ventilators at night. They both have a lot of the accoutrement that we've talked about, that they were talking about as far as adaptive equipment and things like that. So I wanted to just talk a little bit, rather than talking too much about the emotional toll. I wanted to talk about advocating for your children in the medical field, and especially if there are any clinicians here, as well as any families that are new to this journey. This is one of those things that can be very difficult to figure out because, as has been discussed so much here, Leigh syndrome is very complex and it's not that well known, especially just in broad, even in medical fields. There are a lot of times as a parent of someone with Leigh syndrome, or especially two kids with Leigh syndrome, that I'm in a room full of doctors and none of them have ever seen another patient that has Leigh's outside of my children. So that makes it very interesting because it means that the internet research that you do as a parent has to be figured out through medical journals and much more intensive things, which is good and bad. But advocating for your child, really one of the big things I've found is that whether a doctor is super familiar with Leigh syndrome or not familiar at all, starting with a place of respect, recognizing that doctors are trying to do the best that they can do. They might not know Leigh syndrome, but they are medical experts, but also remembering that doctors are not gods, they are human. And there's a lot of mistakes that can be made if we allow allow ourselves to be pushed aside when we're following our gut on something. So I'd really say for parents to follow your gut as much as possible. If you feel like something is going on with your child, pursue it as much as you can, with respect to the doctors, and be respectful and cautious, but continue asking those questions and continue kind of saying, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? Why do you think that we can we do this? I think it's really important to kind of have that as a standard, but also if something happens, I'm sorry, I'm going to stop for a second and tell a quick story. So we actually just came home from the hospital with our daughter Evangeline, where I really had to do this exact thing. She had these transient hypoxic episodes where she was kind of dropping her oxygen saturation. We didn't know why. We thought it was all very respiratory related. And I just kept on thinking that maybe there's something about the GI involved, which is so weird, but that's what I thought. I kept on pushing that, and we found out that she actually had a hiatal hernia that was pushing on her lungs. And once we got that surgery, it was drastic, night and day difference. But really the big part of that is having people on your team that trust you and recognize that that you actually sort of know what you're talking about a little bit. You are the expert in your child. Just making that be a something that you pursue as much as possible. Don't allow the fear of progression to stop you from pursuing possible treatments that can happen. And if you're here, you're a part of the mitochondrial community, and that's a big part of what has helped me walk through this journey. There have been lots of times when we have been able to reach out to various families who have mitochondrial disorders and get their intake, get their idea of what doctors are doing, what doctors have done in different situations. And it's very helpful for you and for your medical professionals to have other people around. I mean, even as we're talking about these cohorts and different things where they're 15, 20 people, it's not a large group of people. And so it's not uncommon for a doctor to not be super familiar with Leigh syndrome. I also wanted to just, with that, I think that it's very easy for us to feel like if there are mistakes that happen, to feel like we're focused on those mistakes, whether they're medical mistakes or whether there's something that we did or something that, there's just so much of that. There's so much guilt and what if-ism in this journey. And I think really trying your best to focus on the future and not focus on the past is really, really important, and just really helps move things forward, because we have to remember that this is a progressive disease, and we'll never know what would have happened if something had been done differently. So I think it's just really important to focus on the future, trying to learn from those mistakes, but not spending all of our time paying attention to that. I think that also, when you are in doctor's visits and things like that, something that I've really learned has been super helpful is to ask as many questions as you can of the doctors when you're in that visit. Write down your questions before you go to the doctor. And then if a doctor is explaining something to you, write that down. Sometimes you need to go back and research what they're telling you, because they're talking in medicalese and you might not understand that. So I have a big binder that I usually bring with me to appointments that has all of my questions that I have that need to be asked, has space for them to answer it, as well as any pertinent medical information that that those doctors need to know. And it's really important to have something like that, and really beneficial. But I think the last thing just to take away is try as much as you can to find your advocates in the medical field, as well as in the larger mitochondrial community. The people that can help you and support you is just super, super important. That's all I've got. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Jennifer. That was wonderful. I really appreciate you acknowledging what I think is a difficult truth to acknowledge when our children are medically complex, which is that their treatment is really a lot of trial and error.
Yeah.
And the need for trust and collaboration with providers when you're operating in that place of total ambiguity is so critical. So thank you for sharing more about Evangeline and Malachi and how you've done that with them and on behalf
Yeah.
of them. We don't have any questions yet, so I will turn it over to Georgelina in Argentina. She will be sharing a pre-recorded talk, and go ahead and take it away, Georgelina.
Thank you. Thank you. Good evening, everybody. I will now share a video I have created, subtitled in English.
Hola, mi nombre es Jorgelina Barral, vivo en Argentina, soy mamá de 4 hijos.
Georgelina, we lost sound, so if you muted your computer, please unmute it.
Thank you. Sorry.
That's okay.
1 minute, please.
Yeah. We heard sound at the very beginning, and I don't know if you then muted your Zoom, but if you leave your Zoom unmuted and play it, I think we should be able to hear it.
Perfect. Okay. Sorry, bye.
Hola, mi nombre es Jorgelina Barral,
Perfect.
vivo en Argentina, soy mamá de 4 hijos, Alejo, Atilio, Amalia y Benito. 2 de ellos fueron diagnosticados con el síndrome de Leigh SURF 1. Atilio hoy tiene 7 años y tenía 3 años cuando fue diagnosticado con el síndrome de Leigh. En esa oportunidad nuestra primera sensación fue de aceptación y un poco de resignación. Queríamos disfrutarlo el tiempo que estuviese con nosotros y si bien nos angustiaba la posibilidad de la muerte, también creíamos que podíamos darle una vida hermosa durante el tiempo que estuviese junto a nosotros. Cuando recibimos el diagnóstico del gen SURF1, yo estaba embarazada de 4 meses y venían mellizos en camino. No pudimos ser conscientes de eso hasta que Benito con 7 meses empezó con los síntomas. Fue diagnosticado con la enfermedad a temprana edad y tratado con el cóctel mitocondrial a los 12 meses. Lo que empezamos a sentir a partir de ahí fue desazón, injusticia. No creíamos posibles ser fuertes para soportar 2 diagnósticos. En una visita a nuestra médica del Hospital Ludovica Norma Espécola, le preguntábamos qué podíamos hacer, le pedíamos ayuda y le pregunté específicamente qué hacemos, qué hacíamos. Ella nos respondió algo así: señora, no hay nada, usted si quiere puede ir por todo. Al menos así lo tomamos nosotros. Esa habilitación, ese permiso nos motivó a pensar en la oportunidad de construir lo que teníamos hasta ese momento y construir una oportunidad nueva. Cuando no hay nada, uno puede elegir quedarse con lo que tiene o puede ir por más. Y creo que nosotros elegimos probar suerte con lo segundo. Ahí mismo fue que empezamos a investigar, a leer, a aprender más sobre la enfermedad. Nos frustramos muchas veces, nos enojamos, pero creo que todo eso nos empoderó. Ahí fue que conocimos a la comunidad Surf 1, conocimos a Casey de Curso 1 en ese momento, y creo que todo eso hizo que nosotros hoy estemos acá, luchando. Decidimos este año comenzar un proyecto en Argentina con nuestra familia y amigos, al que le llamamos Fundación Sonríe Sur 1. Hoy vemos esperanza para el futuro de esta enfermedad y estamos decididos a seguir adelante por nuestros hijos. Hoy siento que la familia es el centro de todo y es la que marca verdaderamente la diferencia. La familia es el sostén del paciente, es el sostén de los médicos, de los profesionales que los acompañan, es la que pide, ofrece, insiste, guía. Necesitamos empoderar a estas familias y para esto pedimos que los médicos o profesionales de la salud nos ayuden cuando comunican. Necesitamos que pongan en la rueda a estos padres. Esta rueda ya está girando, necesitamos que los habiliten, que los hagan protagonistas de su propia historia. En la rueda estaremos nosotros para recibirlos y acompañarlos, las familias que ya hemos recorrido este camino. Esto se logrará paso a paso y lo haremos juntos. Pero también sé que los médicos, profesionales de la salud, investigadores, científicos, necesitan que se los apoye, necesitan ese sostén. Necesitamos que los estados de cada país, de cada ciudad, tomen este rol importante y acompañen la tarea con herramientas, inversiones, leyes, lo que sea necesario para que cuando los médicos sientan ese apoyo, también puedan sentirse empoderados. Podríamos llamarle a esta red una cadena de sostén. Como cierre, les comparto este diagrama de Venn. Ahí nos encontramos personas que tenemos roles, pero que primeramente somos seres humanos y necesitamos una red que nos sostenga y contenga. Gracias por esta oportunidad de visibilizar lo que nos sucede. Quiero decirles que somos simplemente familias tratando de cambiar el destino de esta enfermedad.
Wow, thank you so much, Georgelina.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I feel incredibly inspired by your vision and what you said about working together step by step and hand in hand.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah.